You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 689.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show is recorded the week of December 15th, 2025.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Put your light and he's flying by. With the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, NASCAR great Greg Biffle dies with 6 others in a plane crash in North Carolina, and the NTSB blames a Southwest captain for starting a takeoff roll on a taxiway in Orlando. Also ahead, more news and your feedback, so get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and lock positions, electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 689 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the number one all-news station in the nation, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in
New York City.
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, former U.S. Air Force pilot and retired Delta Airlines captain. And joining me from his Garden View studio,
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire,
retired professional dog photographer, former RAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi there, Jeff, and hi, lovely producer Liz. Great to be back on the show. Thanks very much. 689, if I'm not mistaken. So, 689. Would you believe, you've heard of the Cessna Citation, we're going to talk about one in a little while. The Cessna Citation 1, a total number of 689 units were produced across all variants before production ended in 1985. So that's the Citation. That's a bit short. So I thought I'd add that there's a Boeing B-52D. Tail number ends in 689, a beautifully preserved Stratofortress currently on display at the Imperial War Museum at Duxford. Not the one I'm going to on Sunday, but the one at Duxford. But there you go.
Wow, cool. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Thank you for that information. And it was actually a positive information for a change. Thank you.
There was no negatives. There was a negative, but I left it out.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that. And speaking of positives, from her studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, retired financier and aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer, it's the lovely Liz Piper.
Hi, everybody. Seeing as Jeff went all out on Christmas attire, I decided to join him. So anyway, I don't have huge ears. But that's my headphones under there. But yeah, this is called a toque here in Canada. We call that a toque. It's a toque.
A toque?
It's a toque.
Is that a Hobbit?
No, it's from the French. It's from the French.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Or do they sometimes call those toboggans?
Not here.
Yeah, okay.
Don't you sit on them?
I've heard them called that, and that makes no sense
Yeah,
to me,
I know. That's what I mean. I think a toboggan is like a big giant sled.
The big white hat that chefs wear are called toques too, apparently. Yeah.
How toque?
Anyway, and that's enough about my Christmas attire. Have a good show, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Thank you, Liz. Cheers.
Bye.
And thank you for pointing out my Christmas, my holiday
Your
regalia.
Christmas grey pullover,
Yes.
or whatever it is.
I save it. I save it for this time of year, like when it's cold.
I'm going Airbus. Hooray!
Yay! All right. I think we should probably do some news because that's might be what people are tuned into this podcast for. Maybe.
No, of course not.
No? Oh.
Stand by for news.
Okay, this is breaking news that occurred yesterday, the 18th of December, 2025. If you're into motorsport and automobile racing, specifically NASCAR racing in the United States of America, you'll recognize this name, Greg Biffle. He is a retired NASCAR driver, and he had quite an amazing record of wins. Let's see, he was 55 years old. He's won more than 50 races across NASCAR's 3 circuits, including 19 at the Cup Series level. He also won the Truck Series Championship in 2000 and the Xfinity Series title in 2002. And not only was he a great race driver, but he was also a philanthropist. Is that right? Philanthropist? Yeah.
Yeah.
And helped a lot of people with a lot of things, including the recent, a lot of charitable work. The recent hurricane in the Carolinas. Helene, Hurricane Helene. Anyway, sadly, he he purchased this airplane not long ago, a Citation 550, November 257 Bravo Whiskey. I think he just received his pilot license earlier in the year, and but they don't believe that he was at the controls of the aircraft, that he wasn't really certified and checked out to fly this airplane yet. So there were 2 pilots piloting this aircraft, the November 257 Bravo Whiskey, the Cessna Citation 550. It crashed shortly after it took off from Statesboro, I think, Statesville, North Carolina. Let's see, killing all 7 people on board, including the NASCAR driver, Greg Biffle, and his family. That's so sad. And, of course, the pilots and a couple others. So a total of 7. And, the weather that day, yesterday in Statesville wasn't great. It was instrument flight rules kind of weather. I'm scrolling down here to look at the... what do you call it? No, I guess we don't see that here. I saw that somewhere. The METARs were low ceilings, not great visibility. There was some heavy drizzle, and then it transitioned into heavy rain in the area. And shortly after the jet took off, it made a left turnout. And I'm going to go ahead and add this graphic to the stage here. This is kind of a 3-dimensional depiction of the flight path of the jet after takeoff. On the right side over there is where it took off and made an initial left turn. Right from the beginning, the airspeed and altitude was a little erratic, and it wasn't a normal climb out profile. It looked like the airspeed was fluctuating quite a bit, and as I mentioned, the altitude as well. It got all the way up to about 4,000 feet at the furthest to the west of this pattern that it flew, and then it headed back toward the airport, an uncontrolled field, Statesville, to try to get back on the 7,000-foot runway. And then I think when I'm guessing, of course, that this is still very early, and they're going to be, doing the NTSB is going to be investigating this whole thing shortly, but they'll determine, what the issue was, what caused the pilots to decide to come back to the airport, and also, why they ended up crashing. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button on this, because this is from Blanca Lirio channel, Juan Brown's wonderful YouTube channel, and he does a very good job of breaking down what's known so far in this accident. And let me see. Okay, I think that should start playing. So you'll see that little cursor moving there. That's Juan Brown kind of talking about. Now he's zooming in to that flight path and the initial climb out. There were some people that were saying right off the bat that, I think they were thinking that maybe it was an engine failure or something like that. But I'm thinking, I don't know if you'll agree with me or not, Captain Nick, but if it were an engine failure, that's one of those situations where you don't have to get it on the ground like immediately. You can take your time, you can troubleshoot, you can run the checklists. The airplane flies just fine on one engine. You can set it up for a nice stabilized approach, a long, straight in final, instrument approach, instrument landing system procedure, etc. This has the appearance to me of somebody deciding we need to get this airplane on the ground, back on the ground as quickly as we can. And it also gives me the feeling, based on the airspeed fluctuations and altitude fluctuations, that there may have been something going on with the instrumentation, specifically the pedostatic instruments. And it looks to me like perhaps they were using the highway, Interstate 40, as a reference to kind of bring them back toward the airport. And then when they finally got close enough to recognize the airport environment because of the low visibility, I think they realized they can't complete the turn to final, and they were probably too high and unstable. And so they decided to maybe make a short left downwind approach to land to the west instead. And then again, they were pretty tight in. That might have something to do with the fact that anytime you're flying in very low visibility conditions and you're trying to use visual procedures, you don't realize how close you are to the runway. And I think that it just didn't work out for them. But again, this is all speculation, of course, wild speculation, because we don't know really anything yet. But I don't know. What do you think, Captain Nick? Do you think that I'm on to anything there? Or
I certainly agree that if you've had a straightforward engine failure, then the usual thing is to climb out, take your time, sort the issue out, position yourself for a nice long straight in, and then do so. And to do it on instruments for any well-trained pilot is as easy as it, probably easier actually than trying to do a visual circuit in those poor conditions. So yeah, I think if there had to be a good reason why they wanted to get down and stay down below the cloud base, even with the poor visibility they were then faced with, which, leads me to agree that there could well have been an instrument issue. But in which the pressure's on. Then if you've got a problem with your instruments, you're trying to stay visual, you're trying to stay close enough to the airport so you can see everything. It does make life very difficult. And I hadn't actually seen the raw data from the ADSB, but if they've got erratic altitude and speed, it might well be an indication of a pedostatic issue. Which is not nice in those conditions, because there's one thing you need accurate height and speed, because when you're flying very close to the ground, if you lose a bit too much speed, then things can deteriorate very quickly. You've got no room to recover the situation. But it breaks my heart to see an entire family wiped out in one incident like this. I mean, it would be dreadful to be the sole survivor. I understand that, but this just hits home. It's awful, and it must leave a real big hole in the hearts of everyone who's followed NASCAR. This guy had a fantastic career and was well loved, because there are sportsmen out there who have great careers, but not all of them are as benevolent as this fine gentleman was, and spend so much of their time organizing good works and contributing their hard-earned money into charities and making sure other people benefit from their good fortune. And he was one of those kind of guys. So he's going to be missed, that's for sure.
yes, he will. And very good point about the sport and being a sportsman, but also being just a good person all around. That's kind of sometimes a rare quality to have in that world. Let's see, GWPET01, that's an interesting name, in our live audience says, I think he's been a pilot for quite a while. Yeah, I think I probably misspoke when I said that. I think that maybe just recently, earlier this year, he got some more advanced ratings in preparation for being able to fly this jet, but he hadn't yet been checked out on it or something. I don't know. The pilot, from what I can tell so far, that was the pilot in command is a retired airline pilot. Some people have said maybe a retired Delta pilot, and he has quite a history of flying different fleets over his long career. So definitely an experienced pilot. Now it may be. I'm sorry. What?
The pilot's son was with them too, so I don't know.
Oh, the pilot's son was also
yeah.
on the aircraft too. Maybe he was the co-pilot. Okay, so more than one family involved in this whole tragedy. I was going to say that. What was I going to say about the ratings?
He was very experienced. And
very experienced. Oh, when Captain Nick was talking about the the possibility of the instrument issues. I mean, it could be whether it's that or something else that required the urgency to get the airplane back around and on the ground, like a fire or some other, like a smoke in the cockpit situation. Unfortunately, because it was an uncontrolled airport, there wasn't a lot of, or any, as far as I know yet, that there wasn't any communications on the radio that we can hear and kind of understand what was happening. I'm not sure if this is this class of airplane is required to have, or if this one had it equipped with a cockpit voice recorder or a flight data recorder. A cockpit voice recorder would be very helpful, I think, because then we can get an idea of exactly what was happening and why the urgency to get that airplane back on the ground so quickly. So, yeah, so everything I said earlier about possible pedostatic issues or whatever are just, again, speculation. So, sad story.
Yeah. Sad day for everyone involved here.
Yep. Okay. Well, we're going to be, keeping our eyes and ears open for any updates on this. I think the National Transportation Safety Board arrived either late last night or it's earlier today, and we're going to have, maybe they've already had a briefing, and we'll see if we can find that and see if we can learn more about what they know so far. And I'll have a link to Juan Brown's Blanc Lirio channel video. He does a very nice job of breaking down the initial data that we have, as well as a local news outlet talking about the crash, and of course the driver and his family himself. Okay, let's continue on then with this next item in the news involving an incident that happened in Orlando in March of this year, March 30th, 2025. And we talked about it shortly after it occurred in Orlando as a Southwest Airlines 737 taxiing out for takeoff on runway 17 right. And there are two parallel taxiways to 17 right that run north to south, south to north on the west side of that particular runway. And the Southwest jet didn't quite make it to runway 17 right, and they commenced their takeoff on the outer taxiway, or the one closest to the runway, Taxiway Hotel. And the air traffic controllers noticed that they were taxiing very, very quickly down Taxiway Hotel instead of taxiing or taking off on runway 17 right, and yelled stop, stop, stop. And about the same time, in the cockpit of the jet, the first officer noticed that the captain had advanced the throttles up to the takeoff power position and said, it caught him off guard. The preliminary report, the final report says. And then he finally was able to say, stop aboard, or whatever. Let's see, what does he say exactly? The first officer stated he was startled when he saw that the captain was doing this. It took him a few seconds to vocalize, "We are on the taxiway, reject." Okay, so the first officer noticed it and had the captain reject the takeoff. And about the same time, air traffic control instructed Southwest 3278 stop, Southwest 3278 stop, cancel takeoff clearance. You're on hotel taxiway, Southwest 3278. Okay, so the good news is that there weren't any other airplanes on the taxiway, at least that part of the taxiway at the time of this incident. Liz is showing a slide, which we'll have in our show notes. The route that the Southwest jet took around the apron from their gate in their concourse out. It looks like Taxiway Hotel 1, which would be the normal route to get to runway 17 right, was closed for construction, I believe, and they had to go down to the next taxiway, which is perpendicular to the 17 right taxiway, Hotel 2. And they were probably very busy doing checklists. This all happened very, very shortly after they had pushed back from the gate and started engines. And Southwest is known for doing things very, very rapidly. And so there was a lot going on in the cockpit at the time, and looks like they missed some cues for where they were on the airport. And the thing that really gets me, Captain Nick, if you look at Liz, if you put that graphic back up, please, that the bottom end of that blue line, where they're doing that U-turn to go from hotel to golf and then head back to the north, that taxiway right there, I believe, is Hotel 3. It comes off of the ramp and of that concourse, that lower concourse that we have in the picture. That's the Delta. That's the Delta Airlines concourse. Well, there are some other airlines there as well. But those are our gates. And that taxiway right there, if we were using 17 right for takeoff that day, which we would be if I were still flying and we were, operating out of Orlando, we use that Hotel 3, and they usually instruct us to go Hotel 3 to hotel and then head up to the north and go to the end of the runway, 17 right, and take off. If that day, a jet had been taxiing up to 17 right on hotel, that would have been a big mess. Big mess.
Horrible. Yeah, absolutely horrible.
But on the other hand, it might have been like, the captain may have been looking down what he thought was 17 right and go, well, what's that airplane doing facing us? Like, why? Yeah. Why are they going that direction on my runway that I've been cleared for takeoff? Oh, wait, maybe I'm not on the runway. So, anyway, looks like there were some distractions in the cockpit, running checklists, etc., rushing, and the first officer wasn't paying super close attention to what the captain was doing as far as driving the airplane on the ground. And by the time he realized that the captain was taking off on the taxiway, it was too late.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I would have thought that the Southwest captain would have been reasonably familiar with the airport because, they're short haul, so they're in and out of these airports very regularly. But he mentioned in his interview after the incident that how he normally verified the surface that he was on. And he said that he didn't expect to see the normal threshold markings for the runway because he was taxiing onto a portion of the runway that is before the displaced threshold. So the bit of runway he's taxiing onto, or thought he was taxiing onto, would have looked very similar to the taxiway. However, there's completely different lighting on a taxiway to a runway, and of course the proportions of the runway are completely different. It's much wider, and there's no junk down the end of it like terminals and things that you can often see on taxiways. So that should have given him a clue. In addition to the fact that as he turned on, there wasn't another access to the runway for a considerable distance. So if he'd looked at his runway chart, the last thing he would have expected as he started his takeoff roll was another entrance to the runway immediately on his right. Whereas on the taxiway, that's exactly what he had, another entrance. I mean, so if he was familiar with it, hopefully that would have given him another clue. But I think he had already confirmed in his own mind that he was happily on the runway, and I think it would have taken quite a jolt now for, like, his first officer's remarks and the air traffic commanding him to stop, to bring him away from the picture that he had mentally accepted was now correct. And we all know that this is, a possibility that we can make an error and yet we're so convinced that we're doing the right thing that we make the outside world conform with what we're seeing. It's a known way of continuing with what is quite clearly a blatant error, because you just convince yourself that what you're seeing and what you're doing matches the model you've built inside your head. So I can understand why it took quite some effort to bring him around to his error. However, I mean, one of the reasons that we get our position in the left-hand seat of an airliner with all the responsibilities that brings is that we're not prone to doing that. We understand the dangers of it, so we mitigate it by being careful and deliberate and double-checking everything, as they were actually required to do because their company procedures required both pilots to confirm that they were on the runway. And the first officer was doing one duty, and he wasn't in a position to, or he was, late in doing it, or the captain perhaps didn't give him an opportunity to. But certainly the captain didn't go through those mental ticks that you need to make sure, like mentions the sort of things you can use to confirm that you're on a runway and not the taxiways. Well, the aircraft heading is going to be identical because the taxiway was exactly the same heading as the runway, so that doesn't work. But the runway signage he should have seen. The painted runway designation, well, it wasn't visible from where he was because it would have looked just like the taxiway, I guess. Jefferson, page 9, I'm not quite sure what that refers to.
Airport diagram.
Right, well, I don't know. If you've got it on your iPad and it's linked to GPS, you've got a little aircraft symbol, and you should see that you're not actually on the runway. So perhaps they need to adopt that kind of EFB.
I think they did actually say at some point in the report that he was actually using that movie map display on his iPad.
Oh, really?
And then toward the very end there, then he was looking at other things. And in his head, as you mentioned, he had that confirmation or expectation bias. He said, yeah, I'm on the runway now. The other thing that he didn't notice is the fact that the paint is also a different color on the center line of the taxiway. It's yellow, not white.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that should really have given it away, because I don't think there were too many other indications other than the width of the taxiway and the paint used on the center line, completely different. So, and also, of course, the fact that you have to cross the stop bars that indicate that you're about to enter a live runway, and they're pretty clear. So I don't know what he was doing when he thought he crossed the stop line, but he obviously wasn't really paying much attention to it. So I'm afraid we probably can't give this guy a pass. He's probably going to need a bit of retraining.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure he's probably already had it since this occurred May 30th of
I hope he got through all right. We don't want to see a guy ruin his career, but this had the potential to be an absolute disastrous accident had there been an aircraft that had taxied in front of him while he was performing this maneuver. So
yeah, it would have been a mess.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned in the Southwest Airlines aircraft operating manual, toward the end there of that excerpt that you were reading, captain is supposed to verbally verify the aircraft is on the assigned runway and state out loud, runway blank verified. So in this case, runway 17 right verified. And then it says, warning, if there is any doubt that the aircraft is on the correct runway, do not take off and notify ATC immediately. And that's kind of where everything broke down, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we've all been able to learn a lesson and definitely, focus on the importance of slowing the operation down and paying attention to all the procedures that you're supposed to follow, and make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do safely as you can.
Particularly since they the entry point to the runway was very close to where they had just pushed back from. So they didn't have long to get all the things that they needed to do, all their checklist run before they got to the runway. So they were probably going, and we were always taught, don't start taxiing until you've done a whole bunch of those, so that there's very little left to do and you can concentrate on your taxi route and making sure you don't bump into things and all that kind of stuff. And if they were, looking at their watches and worrying about hitting a slot or, making up some time, then that's where you start cutting corners and that's where it becomes dangerous.
Yeah, so it's one of those human characteristics, I think, that we kind of get, especially in the world of scheduled airline service, and not necessarily the kind of world that you were in with a nice long haul. You didn't probably have that same sense of urgency and feeling like you got to keep everything moving on time as you would if you're doing like short segments, the kind of flying that I was doing. You have that pressure and you have to kind of sometimes back away from that and say, okay, yes, I know it's important that we get these passengers to their gate so they can make their connections and everything else, but we have to make sure that we actually get them to their connecting airport. Yeah. Anyway, all right, good discussion. I'm going to jump to item 01. No, we're going to talk about an update on balloon.
Not the balloons.
What is an episode of APG with Captain Nick on without balloons? And
indeed, it would be a great disappointment.
I know.
If we didn't
so here we are.
Talk about some damn balloons.
So we talked about this on the last episode. The Belarusians launching balloons into Lithuania for the reason of smuggling cigarettes. And then, of course, Julie Andrews singing the hills are alight with the sound of music. So this is
good title.
Yeah, it was a great title. So the reason why we're going to talk about this one more time is that it turns out that the Lithuanians think that, you know what, it's not just, maybe it is true that smugglers are using these balloons to smuggle cigarettes into our fine country, but we suspect that it's more than that, that we think it's the country of Belarus not very happy with us, and some sanctions that we've put upon Belarus, and they're kind of irritated with us, and so they're doing things purposely to annoy us. And I think the article points out the fact that most of these balloons are traveling almost directly toward their airport in Vilnius, Lithuania, just on the other side of the Belarusian border, between Belarus and Lithuania. And so it's not just cigarette smugglers. There's more to this than meets the eye.
It's actually an attack by Belarus.
Lithuania is saying that they are treating this as an attack from Belarus. So,
but we were on this story so far ahead of the BBC, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we were way ahead of the BBC.
Well, the BBC have had other things on their mind, I think. But
what would be more important than this, Captain Nick?
Well, your president is trying to sue them for billions of dollars, so I'm sure they're very worried about that.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Having said that, I'm very much in two minds. One about how successful it would be to smuggle cigarettes across the border using a plane. You've got to have some way to bring it down, after all, and preferably not near an airport where there are lots of policemen and security individuals who are going to arrest you for smuggling cigarettes because they notice there are balloons around the airport. So I'm thinking, is that right? And what's more, the prevailing wind generally across Europe is from the west. So they're trying to get these balloons to go northwest, which is kind of against the prevailing wind. So they're not going to be able to do it very often. It's not going to be very successful.
They got big fans set up in Belarus. Big fans.
Liz is suggesting they use huge fans to better, like big ass fans, I guess. Yeah.
We haven't heard much from Greg Peterson lately.
No, we haven't, but perhaps this will kick him into action.
Yeah.
And what's more, my feeling is that if you want to disrupt the operations of an airport, there are probably much more successful ways of doing it than flying balloons. And radio-controlled drones or aircraft would be. Greg's in the chat.
But is it in Belarusia? Or?
Yeah, where are you,
so-
Greg? Are you in Belarus?
Oh, yeah. Are you smoking cigarettes right now? It would be to use, fly some drones over there because, that closes that airports down pretty quickly if you buzz a few drones around. And that would be a lot easier to accomplish because you can do that regardless of the wind direction, really.
Well, didn't they say in that initial article that because somebody was asking about, why not use drones and that kind of thing? And I think it was because of the expense.
Yeah, they don't have any money.
Yeah. So
Well, if they can afford these cigarettes, but anyway, these balloons don't look unsophisticated. They look like Paco weather balloon. I don't know how much one of those costs, and you've got to pay for all the gas and all that. So I don't know if that's. And what's more, if you get fixed wing radio-controlled drones, then that's a lot easier and a lot cheaper than the helicopter-style ones. So I'm not convinced that that's. If you wanted to disrupt a piece of airspace, that'd probably be a.
This is so unusual for Captain Nick to be skeptical about anything regarding balloons.
But how do they make the balloons come down where they want them to? So I'm just curious. Do they have marksmen with rifles shooting at them?
Well, yeah. Grant McCarran, please get in touch with us.
Yeah. I mean, you could have put a lot of holes in a balloon, I think, to bring it down. So
Yeah, I see that Greg Peterson is in our chat room, and he says that no, he is not in Belarus, and no, he is not smoking cigarettes. I think those were the two no's, right?
He knows,
like
Good to have you with us, though, Greg.
Indeed.
Yeah. And your job working for an engine manufacturer, sure.
They can read the details of this in the show notes.
Yeah, details are in the show notes. Let's continue.
Where do you wanna
With
go
our
next?
favorite,
Aerosucre.
our favorite South American airline, Aerosucre.
Yeah.
What does that stand for again? Air sugar?
Flying sugar.
Flying sugar?
Flying
Okay.
sugar, yeah.
Sugar. I like sugar.
like cocaine.
Isn't there a flying squirrel called a sugar glider?
Yes.
Ah,
There
interesting.
is. Sugar glider, yeah.
Well, that's
Anyway,
got anything to do with Aerosucre.
Probably not. Let's see. This is from the Aviation Herald. It occurred on the 12th of December, not long ago, like a week ago.
No? Mm-mm.
Let's see. A left main gear up landing. An Aerosucre Boeing 727-200 freighter. Hey, I've flown that airplane, and it's a great airplane. I have a type rating in it. Registration Hotel Kilo 5216, performing flight 141. Hey, I used to fly 141s too. This story
It's
is
all
like
about you,
has
Jeff.
my name all over it.
Let's make it all about you.
I'm going to make it all about me, Liz. Thank you.
Yeah.
Barranquilla to Bogota, Colombia, was climbing out of Barranquilla's runway 5 when the crew stopped the climb at about 15,000 feet and decided to return to Barranquilla and descended to 3,000 feet, entered a holding pattern. The aircraft subsequently touched down on runway 5 about 1 hour after departure. During the rollout, the left wing lowered to the runway surface, I guess because of the left main gear not being extended, and the wing skidded on the runway. The crew managed to keep the aircraft on the runway. There were no injuries. The aircraft sustained substantial damage to the left wing and gear, however, and I believe that you were looking at that graphic, that picture in the video, and we'll have that in the show notes. In fact, you're probably looking at the chapter image of that poor left wing. It's pretty much destroyed. Not good.
I am looking at that, Jeff, and asking myself, did that occur on takeoff or landing?
Well, you're looking at maybe some foliage there stuck in some of the
Yeah,
slats.
I'm looking at I'm looking at some really bad impact damage to the leading edge flaps, the slats. And also the wing tip itself looks like it's been partially destroyed.
Huh, so what are you saying? What are you implying?
Well, I'm wondering why the gear gave way, why they came back straight away.
Huh.
Did they possibly incur that damage on takeoff and then went, oh, we can't fly around with our wings very badly damaged and our undercarriage damaged, so let's go back and land?
Well, that definitely sounds like a possibility to me. Yeah. It doesn't say that in the article, does it?
Where they took off and then did they carry on to their destination and land there? Or no, they came back to their point of departure. So unless if something didn't happen, why on earth would they do that? And that looks very much like an aircraft to me. I mean, I'm a pure amateur. An aircraft ploughing through the approach lights as they got airborne late, perhaps with the wrong numbers in the box or too much weight on board, etc., etc. And if it's done that damage to the wing, why wouldn't it damage the left main gear as well?
Well, you know, that this company doesn't have a reputation at all of having issues with like long rolls for takeoffs and well, I think we have some video somewhere of some interesting takeoffs in the past from this airline. Wow. Yeah.
Or it could be just that it's a terrible airplane, the 727.
Well, that's got to be it. Yeah. What a piece of junk.
I'm only saying that because you love it so much.
I know. It is a really good. I mean, trust me. Trust me on this. I believe you when you say your 340 is an amazing airplane. And so you have to believe me when I say that the 727 and the Lockheed L-1011 are amazing airplanes.
Absolutely. I do believe you. Yeah.
Anyway, and it's not just me. I mean, there are countless others out there that say good things, especially about the 727.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Anyway, sadly, it looks like this one, I don't know. Do you think they'll be able to repair that one and get the thing flying again? Well, Aerosucre, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why they'd bother, really, wouldn't they? They'd just go and buy an old 737. That would do, wouldn't it?
It wouldn't do as well as a 727 for sure.
No, it wouldn't. Of course not. But
Where to next? Where to next, Chief?
So we're going to jump to this next one from militarny.com. Am I saying that right? Militarny? Anyway, an AN-22, an Antonov AN-22 military transport plane crashes in Russia after repairs. A Russian Ministry of Defense AN-22 military transport aircraft has crashed in Russia's Ivanovo region.
Sounds good.
The incident occurred in the Furmanovsky district near the Uvad Reservoir, according to TASS news agency. All 7 crew members on board are believed to have died. The aircraft was conducting a scheduled test flight after repairs. Guess it was not it didn't pass the test.
It did not.
Aircraft of this type are based at the Ivanovo Severne military airfield. Satellite images show at least 2 AN-22 planes, and the one that was repaired was likely inside a hangar. Okay, so I knew nothing about this AN-22. It's been around for quite some time. Made its first flight in the 60s, 1965.
Yeah, 65. Yeah.
And entered serial production in 66, began operational service in 69. It became the world's largest turboprop aircraft. It is quite a large airplane. You look at some of those the aerial imagery, satellite imagery, and you see it parked next to some other transport aircraft, and it just, dwarfs them.
Yeah.
Do you know what its NATO code name was? Its reporting name? Cock.
So it was a big cock. Okay.
It was a very big one.
This one. So I have some video that was taken from some security cameras. So let me thank you, Liz. There, you can see that thing coming down.
Okay. Bits.
Yes, you'll see in some other angles here that basically right behind the wing and wing box, the fuselage basically broke off.
Oh,
Jeez,
look at that.
I hope that wasn't what they were repairing.
Oh, my God.
Well, yeah, I don't know. And here's another security camera
That
image
doesn't
of
give
the
them much
crash.
chance. I'll tell you what surprised me after watching this was the lack of fire.
But it did crash into the water, into the lake. So I don't know if that
did it?
would have something to do with
it might well have had something to do with it. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So, so the video will include in the show notes, and it shows them out on this reservoir,
Yeah, there they are. Yeah.
searching for survivors, which apparently there were none. Very, very sad. But like, this is a huge airplane, and look at that thing coming at, like it's in pieces when it hits the reservoir. So, not good. Okay. I don't know if we'll ever, just like the premature or
Deployment.
ejection situation that we talked about on the last episode, and this particular incident, will we ever find out exactly what caused the thing? I don't know. It's possible, but probably not likely. But anyway, very sad.
It's a Ukrainian design, of course, Antonov. It was designed and built in Ukraine. It was a very successful aircraft before they moved on to jet-powered versions of similar large transports. So, it was, they did build a lot of them, but golly, they first flew in 65 and went into service in the 70s. So that was some time ago, and these airframes would be pretty old by now. But Russia is pretty good at keeping these old aircraft viable. I mean, look at all the Tu-95 Bears that they fly around that were built in a similar era. They're bombing around, many of them bombing around, no problem at all. So, yeah, those bombers are bombing around.
Yeah, bombing around. Wow, I'm amazed at the size of this thing and the capacity of up to 80 tons of cargo or payload, and the total weight of 500,000 pounds, 250 tons.
What was the capacity of the Starlifter?
The Starlifter capacity was, I think that I used to know the numbers on that, but they're gone now. About this, I don't know. I think the total takeoff weight of that thing was maxed out was like 325,000 pounds or something like that. So this thing was bigger and had more payload capacity than the Starlifter for sure.
Yeah, it had lots of room in there, that's for sure. I mean, they could fit armored vehicles into it and all sorts. So
it's a big old thing. All right, let's continue on with this. Sent in from the most prestigious of them all, Captain Nigel, Hong Kong Nigel, sent us this link to an article from thestandard.com. Cathay Pacific plane enters Manila runway without clearance, forces a second flight to abort the landing. Cathay Pacific preparing for departure reportedly entered a runway without clearance at Manila's Ninoy Aquino International Airport on Wednesday. According to flight tracking, air traffic control audio sources, Flight 918, Cathay 918 was instructed by controllers to taxi and hold short of runway 6. Around the same time, arriving Flight 903 from Hong Kong was cleared to land on the same runway. Controllers then urgently instructed 903 to go around, which the crew acknowledged and executed, and there was a Cebu Pacific Flight 358 behind them, also told to abort its approach. And then at the same time, or shortly thereafter, they told the Flight 918 on the runway that was taking off without clearance to stop. And so they got it all sorted out, and that fortunately was a happy ending. The aircraft went around, and there was no contact or no big crashes or anything. So.
But it's just yet another runway incursion, and taxiing onto an active runway with a guy in the process of landing is pretty terrifying, quite honestly.
Max takeoff weight of the Starlifter, 342,000 pounds.
Oh, I think Liz is telling me through our back channel that the max takeoff weight of the C-141B Starlifter was 340 something thousand pounds. And I think that's what 342. What's interesting about that, now that you mentioned that number, is that I think that the normal maximum takeoff weight was like 327, but I think that in wartime situations or in contingency operations like Grenada, like when I was involved in that, they allowed it to get bumped all the way up to 340. What is it? 349 or 342?
100.
342-100. Yeah. So hey, I was pretty close to the. It's amazing how quickly we lose the all this data in our brains, Captain Nick,
Right.
after we've been away from flying certain airplanes for a certain while.
I have to put so much new stuff into my head now I'm retired that I've had to dump all my aviation knowledge.
Yeah, you have to understand all the like petanque and bowling and
all
that.
the
I mean,
laws of petanque.
Yeah, it takes up some room.
Who cares about the laws of Airbus?
And of course, I don't have nearly so many brain cells nowadays.
I know. I know. We've been meaning to talk to you about that. All right. No, just kidding. I understand completely.
There are actually a couple of videos going around. Perhaps we could look at those for the next show on this on the radio and on this near runway incursion, which is quite interesting. But
okay.
Yeah, but so we'll try and. I assumed you'd had them, but
no,
apparently not.
No, I didn't.
I did not. But if we don't get to it in a future show, we can always include them in the show notes from this show.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for that. Let's jump to Jay, and this will be probably our last news item for today's show. This is from WGRZ.com or WGRZ for you Canadians and English people, .com. Western New York man pleads guilty to aiming a laser at a Delta flight near Buffalo Airport. So WGRZ must be a local Buffalo news affiliate.
TV, yeah. TVC.
Oh, the TV affiliate.
NBC.
Okay. NBC. Okay. NBC, WGRZ. A Cheektowaga man. Cheektowaga recently, Cheektowaga man wow, it's hard to say, recently pleaded guilty in federal court to pointing a laser pointer, or I like to call him lointer, at an aircraft approaching Buffalo Niagara International Airport. Yes, Buffalo Niagara, not Viagra. The crime carries a minimum penalty of 5 years in prison and a 200.
Buffaloes need Viagra.
Yeah, well,
I think they're pretty good.
Everybody's up there in Buffalo. The crime carries a minimum penalty of 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine, according to the U.S. Attorney's Office. So what was this gentleman's name from Cheektowaga? His name is Joseph L. Crapsey. He's 29 years old. Yeah, what are you talking about?
You couldn't make it up, could you?
No, you couldn't.
Because he's neck deep in the Crapsey right now.
Oh, yeah, he is.
I think it's got something to do with Tiffany. I'm sorry.
Well, you think that Tiffany knows this man, Liz?
You never know. She thought it was a Delta flight. You might be on it. She was got him to signal to see if it was you.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to talk to our APG librarian, Tiffany, and see if she knows anything about this
Ask her if she
instance.
needs a lawyer.
Yeah, ask her if she needs a lawyer.
Minimum penalty of 5 years in prison and $250,000. That's a
good.
pretty big minimum. I think it's very good.
I like it.
But it's a lot of
He's
money
definitely in
and
the
a lot of.
Crapsey.
So this incident happened on March 2nd, 2024, involving a Delta Airlines flight, and Assistant U.S. Attorney Charles Crewley said in a statement that the Delta flight was in flight on approach to Buffalo Niagara International Airport when Crapsey aimed the beam of green laser pointer light at the Delta flight. In this second article from another, let's see, this is from justice.gov. That's good. It sounds pretty official to me.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a government publication.
A government publication. They said that, let's see, the pilot reported that the laser originated approximately 1 mile south of the approach and lasted between 60 to 90 seconds. Niagara Frontier Transportation Authority Police Department officers were dispatched to the surrounding areas of Genesee Street, Dick Road, and Cayuga Street. Oh, Crapsey and Dick Road. Wow, there's so many possibilities here. In Cheektowaga.
Sure this isn't from the Onion or whatever.
It might be. I don't know.
No,
Or paddle your own canoe.
So the police officers went to investigate, and they were responding to a call of a laser being pointed inside of a house. NFTA and Cheektowaga officers went to Nagle Drive residence where Crapsey's parents allowed officers to enter the home. Officers recovered a laser pointer in Crapsey's bedroom. In addition, officers spoke with the neighbor who reported that a green laser was shining through his kitchen window, blinding him. This guy was going nuts with the green laser pointer. The neighbor told officers he viewed the laser for approximately 15 minutes and witnessed it being pointed directly into the sky multiple times.
So the neighbor turned him in.
Dubbed him in.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, that's a good thing because they probably never would have found the guy.
But he's still living at Mommy and Daddy's place.
Yeah, still
29.
living with Mommy and Daddy, 29 years old. No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just
He had
saying.
nothing better to do than point a laser at a plane.
Well, now he's going to live.
If you've got a laser pointer and you're not actually giving a lecture, what else do you do with it? I mean, it's terrible.
Well, that's a good
play with
question,
them.
Captain Nick. But the good news in all of this is the fact that the parents of Joseph Crapsey, Mr. and Mrs. Crapsey, are going to get a little break from their son
Yes.
living with them for about 5 years.
Perhaps it was they that dobbed him in.
Maybe they gifted him with that laser pointer and say, "Hey, you should check this out. Use it as much as you want."
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim's right. Cats
What does
do
Tim
love
say?
to chase lasers.
Cats love to chase lasers. Thank you. That's random. Okay.
Well, we said, what's the other use for lasers? That's not
True.
right.
But did they have a cat?
I don't know.
I don't know. What do
Tim
cats
just
have
knows
anything
stuff.
to do with?
All right. Let's
All
They
right.
might have had a coon. Oh, no, that's the name of the chief, isn't it? Chief Brian Coons.
Could be. You know what time it is? It's time to
Oh, really?
get to know us. Thank goodness. I'm tired of talking about that crapsy news item.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
All right. So, Captain Nick, what have you been doing since we recorded last?
Oh, I've been suffering.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Generally speaking, suffering quietly, but on occasions not. So I've got this shoulder issue, and I hate talking about all the things that go wrong with you when you put on a few years, but it's really rather debilitating, and I'm having trouble moving my right arm and lifting it up and things like that. So,
Falling apart, man.
yeah, I know. So that's been a pain in the shoulder. And it's also stopped me from doing a lot of work because I can't sit and type or, use my computer or even my iPad really, because when I tense up the muscles to just hold a pen or write or tap on the keyboard, whatever, the shoulder kicks off and it becomes very painful. So taking a lot of very strong painkillers and had 2 sessions with the physio at a vast expense, and it's still yet to find out the cause. So not sure.
I didn't think
about
you had
that.
to pay for that stuff.
Well, if you go through the National Health Service, it takes so long that it's usually either fallen off or the problem's
you've
gone
died.
away. Yes. By the time you get to see an NHS physio.
Anderson!
So
Nick Anderson, we're ready for you now. He died. He died 4 months ago.
that's the one. Yeah. They then write you a rude letter saying you didn't come to your appointment, and
Right. And fine.
your widow gets it.
Poor Jilly.
So no, I've got a pet physio establishment I go to when I have these kind of
Veterinarian
issues.
office?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, they do a
Okay.
lot of a lot of vet stuff. No, veterinary. Yes.
Didn't you say it was a
physio.
pet? A pet office?
Yes, it's his favorite
Yeah.
one.
Yes, my pet. Very good. Oh, you wagyu.
I see you're trying to save some money by not going to a human doctor, but going to an animal doctor. I get it.
Well, yeah. You know, vets are allowed to treat humans, but humans can't treat vets. Sorry, can't treat vets. Can't treat animals.
Excuse me?
Yeah, you know, a human
Animals aren't
doctor
allowed
isn't allowed to treat an animal, but an
What about-
animal doctor is allowed to treat a human.
What about an animal who is a doctor? Are they allowed to treat humans?
Oh, God knows.
I don't know if there are any doctor animals, but
Well,
yeah.
I'm sure there is some orangutans that could make their way into the
chimpanzees
NHS
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Anyway,
some have.
so that's been a bit of a pain in the shoulder, and I've been told to give it complete rest. So I'm trying to drink with my left hand.
Well, thank you for being able to do the cover art.
Yeah,
cover
so
art.
it didn't stop me from doing the cover art. I worked
Yeah.
through the pain,
Wow.
and
What a trooper.
well, we had a great suggestion. Let me see if I can remember what the options were.
Cut the
so-
cord was one. Cut the cord.
Yeah, cut the cord. In fact, after we got the Beechcraft Bonanza being discontinued, I imagined a Bye Bye Bonanza because I, as a kid, used to love the cowboy TV. Yes, that's right, Bonanza. And I always used to start with this map of wherever Bonanza
Virginia
was.
City.
It was the Ponderosa
The Ponderosa.
Ranch
Ponderosa
by
Ranch.
Lake Tahoe or something. Anyway, the map used to burst into flames, and then through the gap you would see all the cowboys that worked there, Hoss and little
Adam and Little Joe.
Little
Joe.
Joe.
And
That's
Hop
right.
Sing,
Yeah.
Hop Sing, the chef.
Yeah, it was great. I used to love it. So anyway, when I heard there was a chance to depict the burning map because of the Bonanza demise they've stopped making them. I thought, now's my chance to put an aeroplane into a burning map, and that's been a long time desire of mine.
Isn't it everybody's?
You're a sick man, Nick.
I'm very sick. Yes, very sick. Yeah. So there we got the Bonanza flying out of the burning map over the lake, and it wasn't too much special, but I had to fit in the penguins. So who else is going to fly a Bonanza through a burning map? It's going to be a jackass.
Absolutely.
So we've got the jackass penguin there. And we needed the show number, so go up into the flames, above the penguin, up into the flames. There you go, 688. If you can see it in there amongst the flames. And if you want to find the logo, go left from the number, and there at the base on the map, up
higher, and
there you go.
Got it.
It's just there. That's it.
So they're there and they're there. Okay.
Yeah, so all very easy.
All
There you
resident
go.
accounted for.
Indeed.
very nice.
Very well done.
And
Very
great
beautiful.
fun I had doing that one. That was good.
Good. I want to go and watch an episode or two of Bonanza right now. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. So we're going to go ahead
do that for the
and
rest of
end
the
this
show. Just put it
week's
on.
show.
Yeah, good idea.
Wrap it up, and we're going to all watch Bonanza.
I like it.
Yeah.
Remember how they all had girlfriends at one point, but nothing ever came of it. Like
No one ever got married.
nobody
you
ever
mean?
got
None of the
married.
answers, no.
No.
They're very smart people. Okay. I'm just kidding for those of you who are happily wedded people.
Like me.
Like
50th
Captain Nick.
coming up soon.
Wow, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Jilly deserves a medal.
Jilly deserves better. Is that what you said, Liz?
A medal.
Julie deserves
a medal.
a medal.
I'm sorry.
That's what I'm giving her for her 50th. A little medal.
The
Oh,
Nobel
okay.
Prize? Okay.
No,
Get
it'll
the-
be a chocolate medal.
She'll get to medal with Captain Nick. All right. Let's talk about, I don't know, what
talk
have I
about
been
you, your
doing?
favorite
I've been, yeah, right. I just got back from, I joined a local gym. Actually, it's a North American
Franchise.
gymnasium franchise called Planet Fitness. Have one here not far from me, and decided to try to get myself back into shape. And I just returned from a core workout training session, and I don't know if you've noticed.
What shape have you got yourself back into, Jeff? The round one, or the?
I don't know. I don't know exactly how to describe it. Probably best if we don't. But anyway, so I noticed when we were talking a little bit earlier, and I was pretending to turn around and talk to somebody. The muscles in my rib cage are spasming. So wow.
You're just a big mess.
I am a big mess for sure.
Your intercostals.
Yeah,
Yes,
my intercostals. Yes. And I'm doing my regular mass singing, and everything's building up quite considerably now, because next week it's Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. A lot of holiday singing going on toward the end of the week. So
Christmas singing. Come
Christmas
on, it's not
singing.
Holiday singing. It's not holiday singing.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Christmas
I'm sorry. Christmas holiday singing. Okay. Holy Day. That's what the word holiday comes from, holy day. So anyway, so I've been doing that and editing, and Liz will be happy to know that she's been getting on to me about, I've been in this apartment now for a little while, and nothing on the walls or anything else. And now I'm starting to hang up pictures and make it look more like a home than just a place to put some furniture in. So I've been kind of busy with that and having fun with that. So yeah, I've been very busy.
So you're going to have to give us a house tour at some point.
I'm going to have to give you a house tour at some point for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty.
That's pretty much it for me. We can talk about the coffee fund if you'd like.
Yeah, let's go.
I'd like to.
Why not?
Yeah. And it gives me a chance to sing.
Johnny, how much more coffee?
And Liz.
No thanks.
I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Yeah, yeah.
All right, Coffee Fund. That's our way for you, dear listener, to support our show financially. If you'd like, you don't have to. It's a free show. We do this out of our love for you. But we do have people, fine folks, that want to give us some financial support, and we do appreciate them. A couple different ways to do it. The first is the Coffee Fund Classic method. And since the last episode, we have two. Jenny in Rome, she's been a long-time recurring contributor. So thank you, Jenny. Just want to, every once in a while, acknowledge our recurring contributors using the Coffee Fund Classic method. And Ludger Humpert, in our live audience right now. Ludger, thank you so much for a very nice, generous contribution, a holiday contribution, a Christmas contribution, if you'd like, to the show. We do appreciate that. And we appreciate all of our listeners, especially our live chat room people. Another way to do it is become a patron of the show via patreon.com. We don't have any new patrons since the last episode, but hey, it's out there if you'd like. So if you'd like to learn more about the Coffee Fund, please head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. You'll be glad you did, and we will too.
We will.
Hey, Captain Nick, what do you say
Yes.
we do some feedback?
No, let's not bother.
Okay, then let's wrap up the show then.
Let's watch some Bonanza.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait to get Bonanza back on.
Note to self, don't ask Captain Nick if he wants to end the show. Okay.
It's the first time you ever have asked me.
I know, it was not a good answer.
Captain, incoming message.
All right, let's start our feedback segment with this from John Gallagher. John, we haven't heard from you in quite some time. Oh, wait a minute. I sent this feedback back in July, but I think it was when you were having issues with your inbox and a lot of feedback wasn't coming through. I'm pretty sure you haven't covered this one. I do listen to each episode. I don't recall hearing it, so please add it to your list unless, of course, you do recall
apologies,
dealing
John.
with it. And no, we do not. We didn't deal with it, and our producer is telling us profound apologies to you. I think it was sort of my fault for all that going south. So Liz, don't you do apologize for it. It's me. It was my fault. Sorry, John.
Mea culpa, Jeff.
Yeah, mea culpa.
Me a cowboy, me a Mexican cowboy.
Okay. I'm going to try that next time we do the Confiteor in church in Mass.
That's what I was told to say when I was a little boy.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So John says, back in July, he says, "Hello, APG crew. Hope all are well. I have a question regarding the recommended reaction to a wind shear alert very close to touchdown. I was watching a short video clip from the cockpit of an airliner. Sorry, can't recall which type or airline, and around about the same time as the 30 or 20 call out, a wind shear warning was announced." Okay, he's talking about the radio altimeter call out above touchdown zone height as you're getting close to the point at which you start your flare maneuver. And then all of a sudden you hear wind shear. The pilot immediately pulled the thrust levers back, and in what looked like an attempt to hasten the landing. I always thought that the standard procedure was toga and bring the nose up. Perhaps this was a joke video or a simulator. I can't find the video now to check, but I would be interested to hear the crew's response to this. What exactly is the procedure, and does it change if you're below a certain height above the runway? Also, another interesting aspect is how this applies in the military world. I imagine the same for transporters and larger aircraft, but what about fighters? As always, thanks for an amazing podcast. We all know it's the best aviation podcast out there. Ooh, I like John. At least 50%. Oh, at least 50% of the time, anyway. Thank you, John. Yeah, at least half the time, we're the best. Kind regards, John. So, John, I really do wish that you had a link to that video, because I'd like to watch it because I'd like to hear exactly what kind of wind shear warning was enunciated. And I'm thinking if it were actually something that was audible, it would have been a decreasing performance wind shear warning, because I think the increasing performance wind shears don't necessarily have an audio component, or an oral component, but some kind of like an amber alert, like a light that comes on warning of a wind shear situation. But you want to start with this, Captain Nick, and then I'll finish it up?
Yeah, sure. The two types that I was familiar with was wind shear ahead, which was an analysis by the aircraft's radar detecting the change in velocities of raindrops that it can detect, and predicting that you're about to move into an area of wind shear. And wind shear ahead didn't require an immediate go-round, but when it shouted wind shear, wind shear, wind shear, it did require a go-round. However, you've got to apply to all these sort of things a certain amount of airmanship. So if you're in a big aeroplane on your way down, once you're around 50 feet or lower, even if you attempt to go around, the chances are that your main wheels will reach the runway. You'll touch down. As you touch down, the engines will be spooling up, and they'll hit full power, and you'll get airborne again. So when you get a wind shear at very low level, you're going to touch on the runway regardless if you try and go around or if you just carry on and land. So I think although there was no specific advice, because it comes down to an assessment of the situation right there and then, and that's kind of why the pilots get paid the big bucks. If you make good decisions consistently, you'll make a good pilot, and it's important that you are able to assess a situation very quickly and make the correct decision. In most cases, if I got a wind shear warning that low, 20 or 30 feet, I would have just carried on and landed. Because I'm going to hit the runway anyway, and it's safer for me to be down on the runway than it is to be fighting a major wind shear at very low level while the engines are still spooling up and you're gaining enough thrust to climb away. Because the one thing you need when you're in a wind shear is energy, and you can gain energy by descending down towards the ground if you've got a bit of height, and that is a technique that is definitely used. Or sometimes you've got to have height, so even if you're flying the aircraft in its best possible configuration to climb away, the strength of the downdraft will be carrying you downwards anyway. So if you don't have a reasonable amount of altitude, you may not survive the wind shear effect. So at the height that this guy got it, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily immediately shut the thrust levers. On the Airbus, they're going to wind themselves back at 10 feet anyway. But the fact is that if you're in a wind shear that's about to rob you of speed, you don't want to do it with the engines at idle because you'll land very heavily. If you're in a wind shear that is going to add speed, then yes, you probably want to pull the throttles back. And this is what I'm talking about when I say you've got to be sitting in the seat, flying the airplane, seeing what's happening. It's a very dynamic situation, and you've got to make a decision, your best decision you can at the time. So I'm not surprised they carried on and tried to land.
Yeah, I don't think it was a joke at all. I think I agree completely with Captain Nick. You have to make an assessment. That's why we get paid the big bucks. That's why we have all this experience, hopefully. And you, at this point, for every airplane that I know, unless you're doing an automatic landing because the situation requires it, and in general, the kind of situations that involve wind shear aren't the low visibility kind of scenarios where automatic landing is a requirement. So you're going to most likely going to be hand flying the airplane, and you're going to be able to feel the effect of the environment, the winds, and everything else, what it's doing with your aircraft. And at that point, the way I look at it, you're less than 50 feet above the ground. You have to make that assessment in real time that this is okay. It's best for us to continue to touchdown and landing procedure. In our live audience, iHall Boxes says wind shear ×3 doesn't require a go around on the Boeing fleet. Oh, okay. And it also requires a wind shear escape. It does require a wind shear escape maneuver. Okay.
In our world, that would be a go-around.
Yes, I see. So he's making a distinction between a wind shear escape maneuver and a go-around procedure. And, technically speaking, you're right. Those are different.
Yeah.
Different things,
in the Airbus world, we call it a wind shear go-around.
Oh, okay.
So if we got a wind shear warning, you would say wind shear go around. And one of the things you don't do, for example, on a wind shear go around that you would do on a normal one is change the configuration of the aircraft. So on a normal go around, you go toga, you pitch the airplane, get positive rate call, you lift the gear, and then in turn you lift the flaps. On a wind shear go around, you just fly the airplane, you don't move any of the surfaces. And I think that's what iHall Boxes is getting at. I think it's different Airbus for Boeing terminology. And that's absolutely right. We would probably do the same thing. But I think if you're in the flare, effectively below 50 feet in a big Airbus, you're in the flare. So you're just going to carry on and land.
Yeah, I think so too. That would be my initial reaction, I believe, would be to speed. Unless I felt something really odd and unstable about what was happening with the airplane, almost out of control. Then of course, just put the power up and do the wind shear escape and maneuver and get it away from the ground. Go ahead.
The lovely thing about the Airbus is that our wind shear go-around, we were permitted, if required, to go full back stick and just hold the stick as hard back as you can, safe in the knowledge that the flight control computers will give you the maximum coefficient of lift, the maximum amount of lift you can before you stall, without stalling there's no danger of stalling the aircraft. So that gave us the freedom to concentrate on other things rather than nibbling the airplane away, during this very dynamic situation.
If I had done that in any of the airplanes that I've flown in my life, that would be a bad thing to pull all the way full aft.
Yes.
Backstick or yoke, would not result in a desired situation, outcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But it was a great question. By the way, our producer Liz, just quickly while we were discussing this, looked up on YouTube wind shear at low altitude or whatever. Wind shear at 30 feet. She came up with 2. I don't know if these were, if
I
either
think
of
they're the
these.
same video, just
Oh, it's the same
presented
video?
by different people. but
Okay,
anyway.
looks like it's the same video presented by 2 different YouTubers. We'll probably include those links in the show notes, and then I can't wait to look at them and see what's happening there.
Jeff, there's another question that John put there, and he said,
sorry.
an interesting aspect how this applies in the military world.
Oh, yeah.
You are correct. In fact, Jeff's the ideal man to say what would happen in military transports, because he flew military transports and larger aircraft. But what about fighters? Well, the whole thing about a wind shear is having the performance to defeat the downdrafts that go, or the loss of airspeed that go along with a wind shear. That's not an issue in a fighter. You've got so much excess performance that all you have to do is, put the burners in, and you can outclimb, I imagine, any wind shear that the world could throw at you. So you would have to be half asleep to suffer a big problem from a wind shear if you're in a fighter, because you can just power away from that without any issue at all.
And there you go. And yeah, as you said, the types of larger airplanes that I flew, other than the jet trainers that I flew, were just like airliners. It's the same kind of category of airplane. So everything that applies to the airliner world applied to my flying of the C-141 Starlifter.
Great airplane, by the way. It always used to remind me of a pencil. It seemed to be very long and thin.
Yep. And when they painted it camouflage, like that green camouflage, we called it the lizard.
I love it. Yeah, I remember going across the pond a few times, actually, and seeing the Mac boys way down. They didn't seem to cruise very high. I don't know why, but they were way down in the 20s, and we'd be bombing along. And because they always were asking for, weather reports from airfields that they couldn't get on the HF or whatever, or if they couldn't get it, they had to, remember the Volmets, they used to wait for your airfield to come around. It would take sometimes 20 or 30 minutes. And if they had, they wanted to know now, they'd often ask us to use our magic ACARS kit and get a weather report for them.
Were these like C-130s or something? Or...
Oh, I'm pretty sure they were 141s. But
really?
Did you?
Yeah, we normally we flew in the 30s, like in the. They actually there were times where we were up in the low 40s too. So
right, interesting. Well, I'm sure you could get up there. These guys might have been very heavy.
Yeah, they may have been, or maybe they were preparing for some. No, I wouldn't imagine there would be. You said over the Atlantic, they probably weren't doing any kind of aerial refueling or anything like that. So. I don't know.
They were going to attack Liss in Hampshire.
That's what they were heading to do?
Yeah.
They were going to attack Liss. Yeah.
They're being deployed to Liss.
All right. Sure.
Lizards in Liss.
I wish I had Lizzie's imagination. It must be lovely
Liz,
living in that head.
Apparently, Liz, since she's been retired, has not stayed away from the drugs.
Nope. Got my water here. Got my water.
Okay.
Water of life. That's aquavit or whiskey. That's what both those words mean.
Next.
Okay. Let's continue this with Phil. Phil, who gave us a nice contribution to the Coffee Fund last week. And I'm gathering from the kind of feedback that we get from him that he is a maintenance engineer, a maintenance technician. Because it all has stuff to do with that world. Hello, AGP crew. I just wanted to add to the engine wash explanation, as in my practice and engine types I worked, I never wet motored an engine after an engine wash procedure because it gets very messy. The caution, I can't imagine. The cautions are the sense lines to sensors and ECUs, FADEC, don't get contaminated. Okay, engine control units. Having done many washes over the years, not much has changed as to the initial setup of placing the spray nozzles in the engine intake. Back in the day, we just used water only, but today there are chemicals used to do better cleaning. DC-9 JT8D engines were done by motoring the engine and shooting a stream of water into the intake at the outer edge of the fan blades for a period of time. Then immediately started the engine once the water stopped. Engine was run at idle with the engine bleed on, along with engine anti-ice and wing anti-ice for a period of time to ensure that all the water was dissipated. The V2500 used on the Airbus A320 family and the MD-90 is similar, but due to the FADEC, more precautions are taken to ensure sense lines are not compromised with water ingestion. The procedure is to remove and cap the sense lines to the ECU along with the ECU fittings. Engine is dry motored for 2 minutes with a water solution injected. The sequence is stopped and sits 5 minutes. Step 1 is repeated again. Rinse and repeat. After the second 5-minute stop sequence, the engine is dry motored for 2 minutes with water solution injected for 1 minute, then motored for an additional 1 minute. Now, I think I'm understanding this correctly. When he talks about wet motored and dry motored, is he talking about the wet motored includes fuel and then actually starting the engine, and dry motoring would be without the fuel applied and just mechanically spinning the motor? Is that what you get from this, Captain Nick?
I don't know, because the term a wet run would be after we'd had a wet start, we would then motor the engine to dry it out. So I don't know if that is the same as a wet motor.
Yeah, that's what
we
clarify.
Never did a dry motor that I am aware of, but I mean,
there were times that we would run the engine, motor we would just say motor the engine, and that meant to us that you don't apply fuel and ignition to actually start the engine and have it run like a normal jet engine. You just kind of are just making everything rotate in the core of the engine.
There's no fire there.
But the procedure sounds very much like what I did to my coffee machine this afternoon.
Oh, really? Okay.
I had to put that stuff through that.
Some descaling?
Because descaling the coffee machine. It
so
sounds
wet motoring.
Sounds
or dry
almost
motoring?
identical. So I think I'm probably qualified to do this now on a jet engine.
Sounds like it.
Having done it.
Did you
on
do
my
it outside
coffee
or in the
machine.
kitchen? Sounds like it could get very messy.
I did it in the kitchen, but it did require an awful lot of button pushing, and I'm getting pretty good at that button pushing now.
Well, you're an Airbus captain, so.
Well, that's
Well,
true.
I don't know if you
Well,
have. I don't know if you have this problem with your coffee maker, Captain Nick, but he also addressed the departing pod engines, where you correctly told about how pod-mounted engines break away if an engine mount fails. Generally, the pylon is not where the engine attaches, but at failed engine mounts, which are attached to the pylon assembly. We had two 737-200 engines detached from the wing years past due to the engine mount cone bolts being over-torqued. We had suspect lock nuts in the inventory, and a fleet campaign was initiated on engines that were recently replaced and possibly had bogus lock nuts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Bogus lock nuts.
bogus. I've seen that company before, the big box.
Bogus
the nice
nuts,
bogus
yes.
brand lock nuts. The over-torquing was a result of the type of torque wrench used, causing a false torque value when clicked. This then caused stress on the cone bolts, causing them to fail. Both incident aircraft had the engines depart the pod by flying over the wing, by dropping the aft mount first with no structural damage. The aircraft flew with no issues. One crew mentioned he didn't realize what initially happened as the aircraft was totally manageable.
Wow.
Yeah,
how
probably not
amazing
until
is
somebody
that?
looked out the window and went, hey, boss, engine's not there. It's gone. Yeah.
Golly.
Interesting. So, so your
he's got
brother
a bit
was...
on odor events as well. This.
Yeah, well, speaking of odor events...
Could you put your shoes back on?
Tim
there?
Van
Sorry.
Ram knows about
We're
that.
having an odor event right now. One last item dealing with fumes in the cabin/cockpit. This has been an ongoing issue for years. Captain Jeff, you must have smelled the dirty sock smell when flying the DC-9. Yeah, that and the 7-2. Our DC-9 cabins were impregnated with the odor. The main culprits were the APU ingesting fluids due to its location and the ACMs, the air cycle machines, what were also known as PICS, using oil to lubricate the bearings. The newer ACMs now use air to float the bearings and eliminated an oil odor source. The main issue on the A320 family is the APU as the source of oil contamination. Delta is in the process of replacing all Airbus A320 family APUs due to continued odor events. Once oil enters the ducting, it can work its way up to the packs, causing contamination. Most dirty sock complaints are during descent around 10,000 feet and in the cabin next to the young teenager wearing those tennis shoes that really should have been washed some time ago. Most dirty sock complaints are during descent around 10,000 feet, as this is where the air starts to pick up moisture. The combination of oil and moisture then produce the odor. There is an additive in the turbo.
We used to get that on the 340, and it was often around 10,000 feet.
Yep, and same here with all the experiences of it that I've witnessed. Yeah, there's an additive in the turbo oil that reacts with the moisture. One company removed the additive with another, but it didn't work. Recently, the PW-GTF, the Pratt & Whitney geared turbofan engines, the 1500 and 1100, have bearing issues and leak oil into the high-pressure compressor, causing odor. All kinds of leaks out there, including the new engines. The LEAP engine can cause smoke in the cabin cockpit due to an engine failure when the fan decouples from its drive. This issue is being fixed. I don't think you want the fan to decouple from the drive, do you? Doesn't sound like a good thing.
It would be very efficient.
Wow, Phil!
I used to drive a Yamaha 1100, and then I had a Suzuki 1500. So I've
were they geared
turbofans? No, they're motorcycles. Same sort of thing. Yeah, very similar.
Same, very very similar.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Phil says, sorry for the long-winded stories. Love your podcast. Great APG crew. Always brings a smile and laugh to the day. Regards.
Good job.
Caruso. Yeah. So obviously he's works he's a maintenance technician for Delta, I'm gathering.
In the dirty sock department.
In the dirty sock department, yes.
Tim Van Ram has some experience here.
Tim Van Ram says, I've only heard of a wet fart, not wet motoring. Okay. Well, I'm sure that...
Thank you for that, Tim.
Yeah, and I'm sure that your wife has heard of those as well.
I don't think you can hear those. You can only usually smell them.
If it's really, really bad, you can actually hear and smell them.
Let's not go into an analysis of this now.
And that's when you go, I think I'm going to have to go and change my underwear now.
Right. Yep. You have a little nervous thing going on.
Yeah. And you hope that doesn't happen when you're out in public.
Guys, you've got about 20 minutes left.
Sounds good. We can
25
get through
minutes
a few
left
of these.
to 2 hours. Yeah.
Well, let's move on. We were talking about an incident on an earlier show about a KLM 777 and a passenger that deployed one of the slides while they were taxiing out for takeoff, and we suggested, I think it was Liz's fault. She suggested that maybe it was Captain Ure,
or that he might have some info,
or at least maybe he would know somebody that had some knowledge of this situation.
Is he renowned for this sort of an issue?
I suppose. I don't know. You'll have to ask producer Liz. But he was listening, and he sent us some audio feedback.
Great.
Well, hello, Captains. Jeff, Nick, AJ, Liz, rest of the crew. Captain, you're checking in. Because to my great surprise, I heard my name coming up in the episode about the KLM 777 spinning a slide at Atlanta. I'm happy to inform you that it wasn't me, because I'm still on the A330. And unfortunately, I'm not coming to Atlanta anymore. It's only the Boeing fleets, mostly going into Canada and the Dutch Caribbean islands, trying to dodge American hardware flying close to Venezuela. But hopefully we'll get another chance to join up and have a chat and have a beer. It was very enjoyable last time, especially the barbecue.
Yes.
And Maybe a KLM story about the aircraft I'm on will pop up. Something about a rat being deployed. But, well, maybe we'll hear about it in the future. All the best to you. Take care.
What a tease. What a tease. Sounds like he knows some stuff.
I'm sure he does. Yes.
Yeah. I look forward to it. Make sure that if you're ever back in town or anywhere near, contact me and we'll get together, Captain Ure. Thank you for sending that in.
Now it's Aunt Pruitt time.
Oh, look at this. Aunt Pruitt. Okay. Hello, beloved members of the APG crew. Lovely Miss Liz. Lovely Dr. Steph. No, lovely Captain Jeff. Come on, Aunt. Captain Jeff, Captain Nick, and Alpha Jealous. Hope you're doing well. Okay. Regarding the insufficient takeoff distance story on episode 687, which was 2 episodes ago, I wanted to ask about checks and balances. I know the story mentioned NOTAM, but what about ATC and their involvement? You mean to tell me that there's not one person watching the aircraft taking off from the correct or incorrect position on the runway? I'm ignorant to all of this, so I wanted to ask. I assume someone is watching radar position and whatnot for traffic flow, or even watching with binoculars from time to time. But you know what they say about assuming. You make an arse out of you and Captain Nick. Wow.
Oh, and really?
Also, he loves you. That's the way he expresses love.
Exactly. That's his love language.
Also, episode 687 was such a hilarious ADHD mess of an episode. Well, they're all like that, Aunt. Come on. I couldn't stop laughing or shaking my head during the feedback segments, from RC jets to parachuting from hot air balloons and to trying to make hydrogen non-flammable. And Mr. AJ being jealous he doesn't have an intro or not getting the same attention Dr. Steph gets. Bless your hearts. Now, come on. AJ has an intro. I don't know what he's talking about. Anyway, I hope you're all well, and here's to your continued success and growth of the APG community. Take care, folks. Do something good for yourself. Do something good for someone else, and know that it's okay to love you some you. P.S. I shared in Slack how I finally had an opportunity to chat on air with dear friend and APG community member, Miss Tanya Wyman. And then he sent a link to that interview. This is a bonus episode of his podcast, Everyday People. And again, that's Aunt Pruitt, a longtime listener and someone with whom we love to death and is such a great guy. So thank you, Aunt, and he's a big supporter of our show as well. So thank you for that. So what we're going to do now is I have a little clip of the special bonus episode, which is, I think, a little over an hour-long video with Tanya. And Tanya, she's sure she's still with us in our live audience, isn't she?
So we're going to play the whole hour, right?
Yeah, we're going to play the whole hour. So everybody just go grab some popcorn and maybe a nice beer or drink, something like that. No, we're not. We're going to play just a little excerpt of it so you can kind of get a feel for this beautiful video interview that was conducted by Aunt of our wonderful Miss Tanya. And so if you'll add that to
yes, sir,
the stage.
So please allow me to welcome my dear friend, Miss Tanya Wyman. I'm going to pull her up on the screen right about now. There she is. Hey, lady, how you be?
Hey, I'm great. Yeah. This is really cool. Like, I remember, like, you asked me to even do this back when you were with Twit, and like it just wasn't able to happen. So we finally got it together.
It was always something going on, be it with my schedule over here or your schedule over there, because we're in 2 different time zones. You're in the East Coast time zone, and I'm over here in the weird time zone behind the rest of the world. But I'm glad we're able to work that out. I appreciate you being here. And I see folks are popping into the live chat. Good to see all of you. I see Ozone Nightmare, and I see Tanya, and I see Cinder Fractal. Hey, good to see all of y'all in here. But anyway, without any further ado, let me just dive right in and just pick your brain a little bit. If I get to an uncomfortable question, you can just say, shut the hell up. I'm not answering that. It's totally fine. But
fair enough.
I know a fair amount about you, but I wanted to get into a little bit more. So first things first, before we started the show, and this is totally off the cuff, before we started the show, you were talking about, this is my first time, being live on a podcast. And I called bull. You, no, that's not the case. Not the case. I know you from the aviation community and the Airline Pilot Guy podcast. APG, that crew, they do a podcast every week, and they do it all over YouTube live streaming with the comments and chat and so forth. And if I'm remembering right, you're one of the moderators in there.
That's so that no, technically I am. Technically, I do have the spanner of death, where I can block people.
We're looking at it now.
Accept or reject any suspicious posts. But what happened was there was one episode where someone was complaining about that they didn't have the moderation function, and Captain Jeff, retired Delta Airlines pilot, one of my favorite people in the world.
He's all right.
He is the the airline pilot guy. He is the airline pilot guy. He started the podcast himself. It was a solo podcast initially, and then it grew. But there was one episode where I don't know what happened. Someone complained about something, and then he gave everyone in the chat a moderation function. So yes, I'm a moderator, but it's by default, basically.
So yeah, because I'm a generous person. I like to give. I'm a giver. I give everybody the spanner of the blue spanner of death.
You get a spanner, and you get a spanner, and you get a spanner.
Yeah, to whack people over the head with. Yeah.
Yeah. So just for people who are new to the, again, that was just a little tiny bit of that long, not overly long compared to what we do every week, but a longer episode, and we'll have a link to it in the show notes. And I highly recommend that you watch it because it's very entertaining. And I have to say, I learned a lot about you, Tanya, because she's with us now in the live audience of this show recording, that I didn't know. So definitely an interesting show for sure. And Ant Pruitt is just an amazing guy. But anyway, getting back to the spanners, we used to do this as a public, when we recorded live, and then we kept getting all these spammers and trolls. And it was it was getting so out of hand that I basically said, everybody that I know that is not a troll or a spammer, you get the special
because I was spending the whole show
tools. Yeah, because Liz was spending 100% of her time and nothing else, squashing all the trolls in the comments. And I finally thought, there must be a better way to do this. And so at that point, we decided, let's just make this what do they call it? Unlisted or
unlisted. I think.
Unlisted,
yeah.
Not public podcast or YouTube video. Yeah. So when we're doing it live, so we don't have to worry about all that crud anymore. And the people that actually show up for our live chat room are people that are intending to be there and be legit and be supportive for the most part, except for people like Tim Van Ram and
so he
others that are disruptive. Not
he's
not
a hacker, I'm sure. Because every time we try and get rid of him, he pops up again.
I know. I don't know what to do about that.
In?
He's very, very sly and crafty. Anyway, so that's the story about the blue spanners, and that's true. I just basically said, "Hey, you want one?" I was giving them out like candy. Main Marin says Jeff started it himself. Reminds me of a Van Morrison's line: "The sound of one hand clapping." Okay. That's an interesting comment.
You were single-handed. So.
Yeah, single-handedly, yes, for sure.
I'm very used to single-handed clapping. In the military, it was very common to applaud people who were speakers by doing a single-handed clap. Well, because you had a glass of wine in the other hand, so you had to learn to clap single-handedly.
Nick, I think there's somebody at your door.
I'm surprised the dogs aren't barking.
Yeah. I know. All right. So awesome. So I'm glad that we had a chance to play a little excerpt of Ordinary People podcast with Aunt Pruitt and our lovely Tanya Wyman.
Yeah, well done, Tanya. You sounded great.
Yep. All right. Let's continue with, this from Roberta Westwood. Talons Douglas. And I'm glad that she's writing in regarding this. And as I mentioned just not long ago, that there are people that's
so good.
There are people that are new to our show, and sometimes, we have to be reminded of that. We're just so used to doing all the things we're doing and referring to certain things without thinking about the fact that some people may have no idea what the heck we're talking about. One of those things is, well, here, let me start with her podcast, or not her podcast, her feedback. Hi, Jeff, Nick, Steph, Liz, AJ, and surprise guests. Today, I finally decided to write about this. What on earth does, quote, Talons Douglas mean? I've heard it on so many episodes and still have no idea what on earth or in the sky this is referring to. Do tell. P.S. Was inspired to send one of my doodles, a creature with the closest thing to talons I can think of, to avoid thinking of freaky giant birds swooping down to earth to pluck up every person named Douglas. Gak! Let cuteness prevail. Roberta in Victoria, BC.
That should be our cover art.
That is
Save
a
Nick
beautiful
some,
cover.
Save Nick
cover.
some work.
Yeah, that's an idea. I think Nick likes that idea. Okay. So
Well, it is Christmas.
So thank you for the artwork, Roberta. That's beautiful. It's a kind of a strange looking creature, but I don't know. Weirdly attractive. So
It's the lips, Jeff.
Well, it's the
lips.
three
It must
legs.
be the lips.
Why is it a three-legged?
Why not? Because 3 is better than 2.
It's imagination at work.
Yeah.
there.
Anyway, Roberta, this brings us all the way back, and I had to do a little search to figure out exactly when this occurred. But back in January of 2017, a very, very long time listener and community member, and a gentleman we haven't heard from in some time. I hope he's okay. Larry, if you're out there still listening, would you please send us some feedback and let us know you're okay? Because I know that he did have some kind of a health event earlier in the year, I think, or maybe even last year. I don't know. I hope you're still with us, sir. So he sent us this in January of 2017. So we used to do, well, we're probably still supposed to do them, but we haven't done one in quite some time. Something called Captain's Logs, like short or crew logs, videos that we put out, or audios or whatever, of like behind the scenes kind of stuff usually, or just extra content. He said, just watched the Captain's Log video and thought I would try the closed captions. Okay, so we're talking about video, and on Google, on YouTube, you can click on the closed captions, which are automatically generated. I think they're getting better than they were back in 2017, but it takes the spoken word and then automatically with computers puts out what it thinks you're saying in closed captioning. And he says, it worked pretty well, except for the tailwinds and God bless parts. Now he's referring to the way I end the show. And for so many years, I said, and I still do, I say, wishing you clear skies and unlimited visibility and tailwinds, God bless. And so the closed captioning took that, and I'll have a snapshot as he sent us of the closed captioning, and it says, visibility and talons, take care, Douglas. So that's what the computer thought that I was saying. Apparently I wasn't speaking very clearly. And that was, and at some point not long ago, was it about a year ago or so, or I don't know, I don't remember exactly when, I falsely or wrongly attributed that to Glenn Towler, who passed away a few years ago. And, but then Larry said, excuse me, no, it wasn't Glenn. It was me.
Correction.
Yeah. So we, again, we dipped below the 50% and now we're above it again. So thanks to Larry. He is the one that caught this on the live closed captioning. And so that's where it came from. So I started, instead of saying clear skies, unlimited visibility, and take care and God bless, I used to say at times, and I still do at times, Talons Douglas. So, and actually, I guess I should say Talons, take care, Douglas. That's really what I should be saying, huh? Anyway, so that's the story.
That's the story. Yep.
Roberta, thank you for asking. Okay, let's continue with this audio feedback from JJ Pittsburgh, another longtime member of our community. Let's see, JJ Pittsburgh / Pilot Dan, Nashville meetup. Oh, what's he talking about?
Greetings, APGers. It's JJ Pittsburgh here. I am here with Pilot Dan, who I've known since grade school, and he just happened to be flying into Nashville, and of course I just happened to be driving 9 hours down to Nashville like my crazy self always does. So anyway, we're meeting up for the first time in Nashville, and what's your take on the city so far, Dan?
Hello, APG. This is Dan. So far, it's great. It's the first time I've been to Nashville for work, and nice to have JJ Pittsburgh showing me around. He's been here quite a few more times than I have, so we went, had some breakfast, had some Nashville hot chicken on a pancake, and now we're at McKay's, and I'm off to the Gibson garage soon.
Yes, and McKay's, by the way, for the APG family, if you don't know this place, there's quite a few locations. There's one in Knoxville. It's a used bookstore, but it's massive. It's a huge warehouse, and they basically have everything. They have board games. I bought a Bucky's plush toy for 95 cents. That's a steal. So anyway, that place is great. You could get lost in there. They have guitars, anything you could imagine in here. But anyway, it's exciting to meet up with Dan. We're going to get him over to the Gibson garage, and I'm going to head back north because unfortunately I have one of those jobs and they do pay me. So I'm going to have to go back so I could get that cash. All right, but signing off, this is JJ Pittsburgh and Pilot Dan.
Job? Pay? What?
Oh, what's that?
What the heck is that?
Certainly
What is he
pay,
talking
we don't
about?
understand.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do for us. You're supposed to pay us. Remember?
But you have to do a proper job.
Proper job. I've got to find a proper job right here.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I better start paying you. JJ, as I said, he has sent in so much audio feedback in the past, which is awesome. And we've had him at meetups. I remember fondly seeing him at Oshkosh a couple of years ago. And he came and visited me here in the North Atlanta suburbs not long ago, probably earlier this year. I don't know. It's all blurring together now. But anyway, JJ is a good friend, and he has that real job that he gets paid for, back where he lives in Pittsburgh. And he also does, what would you call that? The kind of job where what's the term that you use for an extra job that you have on the side?
Moonlighting?
Like moonlighting. He moonlights as an Uber driver, and he doesn't just stay right around the area where he lives and works. No, he goes like way out of the way on his Uber driving jaunts. Anyway, so very nice to hear from Pilot Dan and what you guys are up to in Nashville. That's always we always love hearing from our community and what they're doing. So keep it up. Appreciate that. And speaking of our community, we have, he is our official Funyun supplier for the APG. He was Errol Yurtkaren was the guy that brought the big giant box of the small little bags of Funyuns to our meetup in Charlotte. earlier this year? April of this year?
No.
Or was that 2 years
last
ago?
year. It was, the year.
It was 2024?
after-
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
Right after you retired.
Yeah, time is flying. It's amazing. Anyway, so he sent this to us, which is very, very funny. It's some humor. It's a video regarding pilots versus engineers. Hello, crew, as both a pilot and an engineer. Go Jackets. Yeah, he's an alumni or alumnus of Georgia Tech. This video hits home and put me into a minor existential crisis. Enjoy. Yeah, you'll see why he's talking about this existential crisis from this video here, and it's very, very funny. So let me cue that up, and thank you, Liz. And here we go.
This is a square. Can you guess which spot that goes in?
The square.
That's right. It goes in the square hole.
Yes. Okay.
And how about this rectangle? That one?
Also the square.
That goes in there too.
Yeah.
Up next, we've got this thin rectangle.
The thin
Can you guess
rectangle.
where that goes?
The thin rectangle.
That's right. It goes in the square hole.
Okay, I'm putting us on pause for a second. So for those of you not seeing the video, the female voice that you're hearing, she's representing the engineers of the world, and the guy doing all the talking and talking about the shapes that he's putting. Remember those little things that you had as a kid, like you're in preschool or whatever, and they have or even before you go to school, you have a bucket with a lid on it, and it has all these different shapes in the lids, and then you have these little blocks that are different shapes, and then you put the block in the proper shape. We all know that. Anyway, so that's the guy representing the pilots, the male voice that you're hearing. So let's continue.
And up next, a cylinder.
The circle.
I think that goes in
The circle.
the square hole. Now, we've also
putting
got
them all
this
this way.
semicircle right here. Do you see a slot that would fit
The semicircle.
semicircle?
The semicircle.
That's right. It's the square hole. Okay. Up next, the triangle. You
It
know
is
what hole
great.
that goes
The
into,
triangle.
right?
Triangle.
That's right. The square hole. And up next, we have the arch.
The arch. The
You
arch.
guessed it.
The arch.
It goes in the square hole. This is a square. Can you guess which spot?
So
that's-
what
It's so
was great
funny.
about this is you had the expression on this lady's face, the engineer. She is just almost crying at the very end, like, no,
frustrated.
that's not right. But I guess showing that maybe the pilot brain is a little bit more practical or pragmatic than the engineer brain.
Pragmatic? I would
Yeah.
say it's like not very imaginative. Like
Not very imaginative.
all he can think of is a square. Like that's all he's thinking of. Like
See,
they
I
don't
take
even
it
look at
completely
the other
different,
shapes.
Liz. I think of it
no.
as someone that gets the job done.
No.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
of course you do, because you're a pilot.
exactly.
Yeah.
And as Errol says, he's a little confused because he is both a pilot and an engineer, which is, it's a tough place to be, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. There are a lot of pilots out there who are trained engineers as well. So, yeah, be careful out there, people. All right. What happened to my video? Why is my video now all of a sudden like all zoomed out? What happened? How did that happen?
You were very artistic there, though. Like an oil painting.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap this baby up.
Okay. We'll wrap it up without me fixing my video, which is bothering me. Okay. So our producer is telling me, Jeff, wrap it up. Shut up and wrap it
We
up.
did get some late arriving feedback, but that'll be in the next show.
We did receive some late arriving
From
feedback,
Logan
which
Lynch.
we'll be able to cover on our next episode, specifically from you, Logan Lynch. And but for now, we're going to point you over to our website, airlinepilotguy.com, where you'll find information about the crew and the community and merchandise, and we have more information, expanded information on the Plane Tales, the Plane Tale podcast, the
Tiffany in the library.
Tiffany and the APG library, and so much more. So check that out, airlinepilotguy.com, or also on social media, or what I like to call the social meets.
Oh,
And
the social meets.
maybe I'll do it then.
No, it's all right. I was just starting off on the artwork.
Oh, okay. Well, you're getting ahead of yourself, Captain
No,
Nick.
I am indeed. Now, look, if you're a person, nearly said idiot then. If you're a person that enjoys Facebook, then just do a little search for this long word, Airline Pilot Guy, and you'll find us there. Now, if you can remember what Twitter was, you'll know it's now X, and on Twitter, we're at APG Crew. On the Instagram, we are APG Crew. And if you enjoy this complete shambles of a video recording, then you need to go to YouTube to find us. youtube.com/Airline Pilot Guy. And congratulations, you'll have found us.
Yes. And if you're wanting to see us and watch us on YouTube, then you probably need to book an appointment with a psychologist as well. All right. And
They will afterwards anyway.
They'll need to, yeah. What's it called? PTSD, right? All right. We are also on something called Slack, kind of a quasi-social. Yeah. Hello? Hello? Can you tell us about Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
That's fine. He's so excited. Come over here and tell us all about it, please.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and plain tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK, Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com. Or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
Put that towel back around you. Somebody's going to see your...
Wow.
Your
That's
thing.
a lot.
See what I mean? All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hillel. And also thanks to our producer, Liz. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
There she
Liz.
is, right there in the big screen. Looking very... Speaking of artsy, it looks so colorful and nice there in your
Don't have
studio.
my hat on anymore.
Yeah, put the hat on, the Christmas hat. There we go. I'm the only one that doesn't have a Christmas hat. Sorry.
Well, spoil your hair, Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had one at some point, but because of things that have happened in my life, like my divorce and all the other things, I don't have any of that stuff anymore. Sorry. Also, we'd like to thank our live audience, our live chatters. Thank you to all of you for showing up each and every week and providing support for us and entertainment. So we hope that you have a great Christmas / whatever religious holiday that you participate in the next couple of weeks. And speaking of that, just a quick note, I believe we're going to be taking the week off next week. So
That's the plan.
we plan on coming back the following week. And if not, we'll let you know via the social medias. And we hope that you have a wonderful time during the Christmas holidays with your families and friends and all of that stuff. Just be careful. And finally, we'd like to sign off with telling you Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and all the other things, and wishing you clear skies and limited visibility.
Diwali.
And
Diwali. I don't know what happy Diwali
Kwanzaa.
means.
Diwali, Kwanzaa,
Kwanzaa,
and how about Festivus? Have we already passed Festivus?
Yes, Festivus. Yep,
Yeah.
the rest of us.
The rest of us.
Great Festivus.
Yeah.
For the rest of us.
Anyway, so whatever you do, have a good time. Just be careful doing it because we want to see you again in the new year. And with that, we're going to sign off by telling you clear skies and limited visibility. Talons, take care, Douglas.
Cheers. Bye, everybody.
See you next time. Maybe it's next year, but maybe this year. We're not
Maybe.
sure yet.
Hopefully this year.
Yeah.
There's a long gap. We need to do something.
Have a great time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the airline pilot guy.
Good day.
I used to be such a good pilot till I started APG. I opened doors for little old ladies. I helped them to their seats. Airline pilot guy, I fly America. Oh, airline pilot guy, he can land in heavy fog. I got no friends cause I'm always flying. I just don't have the time. But I can land this old plane. I can land it just fine. Airline pilot guy,